Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Over coming to you with some Steel Division Normandy 44. Today is a 1v1 between Rangroo playing the 3rd Armored and KingPapaDragon playing as the 91st Luftländer. So it's going to be armor against paratroopers. So expect to see the Luftländer take some really early advantages in this particular map. Well, at least as far as the infantry fight goes, and I expect them to kind of get outscaled as the game goes further and further along. Then again, this is a nice, easy map to understand. We have one central arterial going from southwest to northeast, with a couple little spots mixed on in, but expect to see a ton of engagement around this center town here. Now we're going to take a quick look over at Rangroo. What's he starting off with? Well, of course, unsurprisingly, he's got three half-tracks setting on up with a bunch of infantry. And I'm kind of wondering, can we see what their moves are? We can't see the moves are what they are initially over here. Got some recon behind that. Wonder if he's considering bringing any early anti-tank guns or the like. Well, he's got some more recon over here. The Jeep with a 30 cal in the back. Probably going to sprint his way up, maybe take cover somewhere over here behind these trees. Not going to be ideal, obviously. You want recon to be up and forward as far as possible, but that 30 cal is not going to do a whole lot of damage if he gets caught out by any sort of light vehicles. Now, the 91st Luftländer is naturally, like I said, it's going to be a very, very paratroopy kind of division. We have a couple of Opal Blitzes, obviously with early infantry, and we're going to see some fairly vetted up ones coming on in. Some recon that's going to be rather good, as well as a KingPapaDragon with another squad of infantry coming in, maybe a Führer early on, as well as a MG. Now, to the German right, another MG, maybe again trying to slide up here, maybe even take position up here in this particular set of buildings yonder, or perhaps even going here. This is kind of an interesting position right over here. While you don't get that kind of flank protection from these trees, this is not a particularly great spot. You can tell right here, you can see that the line of sight is pretty awful around most of these buildings. And indeed, unless you're guarding the break in the road right here, this is a very, very bad position, I would argue, for infantry to be in. Now, marginally better would be to take a cover in besides this compound right about here, especially from the German side of things. You have a great field of fire to the south. I don't think the Americans have a mirrored kind of position for that. At best, maybe about here, and even then it's not that wonderful. If they can sneak through the German lines, they can have some great spots over in this section, but not too much to write home about. Germans as well going to be bringing in another machine gun, as well as a couple more squads of infantry and an anti-tank gun over on their right. Are the Americans adding anything else? Yes, an M20 command vehicle, a very, very early Sherman. And they beefing this up over here? Yes, so they have themselves a half-track with an anti-air gun in the back. So while we're waiting for the game to kind of get started right over here, I do want to mention that I recently put out a profile for the 21st Panzer, and I definitely want to continue doing that as this game moves forward, kind of breaking down the different armies and divisions you can kind of play in this particular game. Now, there's been a kind of mixed reaction to that particular video. Some people have been very, very supportive of it. Other ones have been somewhat less than stellarly pleased. I always welcome constructive comments on this channel. I love it. I honestly want you guys to learn just as much as I do. But as long as you keep it constructive, I have absolutely no problem. If you start to get really vicious and poisonous, I will get rid of you from this channel. So just that little bit of stuff out of the way. The battle is now commencing. Looks like we're going to have actually KingPapaDragon sliding over here on this road, maybe trying to get up and covered around this intersection. Anti-tank gun right about here wouldn't be too bad, I suppose. Wondering, would be a better position, perhaps, to get behind this forest here. He covers a lot of these positions to the east there. Now, 3rd Armored taking advantage of the greater speed. There's a rushing into the middle of the town square right here. My guess is, well, we will see the first meeting engagement right around this area. But with the 3rd Armored rushing on in, we are going to see 51 to... No, I was going to say it was a 51 to 50% there, but no, we're right back to a 50 square. So the Allies take a very early lead with 3 tickets, but it's not going to be wonderful now, is it? Rifles diving into these houses here, and these things are great positions. Maybe not so much down this particular flank, but when your enemies coming on in with MG34s, Zooks, and really this... Oh, actually, Stu 42. Now there's an interesting idea. And of course, the Fallschirmjäger Jägers. Coming in, actually, first engagement happening over here. That 30 cal Jeep is engaging them. Not going to be a whole lot they can do initially against that. That Faust is very much out of range. Pack 36s are setting up, though, trying to figure out a way to get fire onto this tank, but that tank is excellently placed. What is not excellently placed with that Stuka 42, that poor guy comes up the road and one shot, one kill. He gets blown to pieces. Not even by these rifles, by that tank, I believe. Yet the Germans do control 54% of the map, a consequence of the Americans not really putting any pressure over here to the west. Or on their left, perhaps it might be a better way to put it. Now, guys, also, while this game is really getting itself into full swing, if you have a game or replay from this game that you want me to check out, I also feel the same way about Company of Heroes 2, and even we're going to be expanding into Dawn of War 3 a little bit. Email me, conalwargaming@gmail.com. Tell me who you are in the replay, and I will be happy to cast it and put it up for either Subscriber Saturday or even up during the week as a featured video, so let me know. Germans, in the meantime, getting back to this. 30 cal and, Pack 36 is not got a whole lot in sight here. He's right behind the trees, which is great for this half-track, at least for a couple more seconds, but it's not going to go too well eventually. Germans continue to have a light advantage in territory that's going to be cut down a bit. I think if this half-track, though, is able to put fire into and push back this MG34, it might see the Americans able to push into this town. But for the time being, we're going to see a mortar half-track putting fire over here to the west, and I think that Jeep bought it. Yep, the Jeep bought it because of that Pack 36. Ooh, but that poor guy is now under fire from that Pack 36, and he's just bouncing like crazy. And if he can survive another shot or two, no, rifles take him out in the meantime, so well done there. Just to kind of orient ourselves a little bit differently, we can see that the line of battle is very, very weird. We have an Americans with this massive bulge in the center of the German position. And that will change as these Opel Blitz comes on in. But the Americans have managed to seize, I would argue, that central town. What they have sacrificed in the meantime, though, is pretty much this entire western flank. Let's take a quick look at what Rangroo sees. Rangroo has no idea about the collection of troops right over in this area, nor does he know about the collection of Germans in the forest here. So as this half-track bolts on forwards, this Panzerabwehr, ooh, is going to be perfect for him. That poor guy's going to come off the road, he's not going to know what hit him. But of course, that guy, I think, might be in hold fire. No, maybe he's not. No, can't say that he is. Sherman, though, continues to cause a bunch of issues to the center of the German position, and as he creeps on forwards, this Panzerabwehr is not putting Faust towards the Sherman. It's probably lucky right there for that Sherman. And a Henkel coming on in as an airstrike, and I believe we're going to see a repurposed Bofors putting pressure on said Henkel. And it's worth noting that there was a comment made by one of the game developers in a recent stream that, again, anti-air guns are fantastic ways of shredding infantry. They're really only good by forcing your aircraft to fall back, not to actually kill them. Ooh, Panzerabwehr is coming in nice and close. Here comes a Faust, I almost guarantee it. And yep, skadoosh, there goes the half-track. And we're back to a 50-50, though. Allies have almost managed to pressure the rest of the Germans out of this position here. Just one lone group of Ersatztruppen hunkering down in one of those houses. In the meantime, we are going to see rifles trying to slip in and around KingPapaDragon's men. Now, this Pack 36, what can he see? Well, half-track to the north buys it. Panzerfaust to the face takes him out. And with that, we are seeing ourselves going to go back to a German-held line. Interesting. 35R coming on in, one of the light tanks available to the 91st Luftlande. And I don't like how aggressive he's being with this mortar half-track. Mortars, like in Company of Heroes and other kind of real-time strategy games, are great when you can't see them. When you can be seen, like by this particular anti-tank gun right here, who's going to get at least one more shot off, I imagine. No, he's aiming to the other one instead. It's not a great position to be in. And Rangroo is finding that out at his peril. But now, M20 Command and this half-track pouring fire into these Ersatztruppen, managing to pin them down, and with that, the rifles will have an opportunity to slide on forwards, maybe force the Fallschirmjägerabwehr to fall back. Perhaps, anyway, perhaps. I'm not 100% sure. We're also going to see... Ooh, as I said, we're seeing the Opal Blitz coming down the center part of the road. Maybe we could have seen a shot take out that truck and with the infantry with it. But no, the Sherman instead gets taken out by that Henkel that comes in and just roars right back away. And Rangroo seems to be taking that loss rather personally, bringing in another anti-aircraft gun, but not in time to save his poor mortar half-track. So far, I have to say that the Axis play on this map has been a little bit more impressive than the Allied one. Of course, as we slide into Phase B, we'll start to see more and more tanks coming out for the 3rd Armored. And the 91st Luftland will kind of get outscaled unless they get more air onto the field. Kind of wondering why these rifles don't try to move forward, because this is a lousy position for them. This one's far better. And I'm trying to think about the 91st Luftland. They have a couple of early indirect fire pieces you can see within this mortar sliding on forwards. But other than that, there's not a whole lot to write home about. I'm kind of wondering why Rangroo is playing so conservatively with his infantry. I'm getting the feeling, though, that neither player really knows where his opponent is situated. Indeed, they know that there's some troops right over here, but other than that, they see one half-track, and they don't really know what's going on in the center part of that town. Guys coming in and out. Rangroo, even more devastated, he has no idea. But these Panzerjägers coming under, excuse me, Fallschirmjägers. I keep combining the Panzer Abwehr and the Jaeger infantry, forgive me. I didn't realize those guys have Shreks. Oof. These are beastly. And these infantry just continues to get suppressed over here on the German left. So I think we're probably going to see the beginnings of an American push after they start to stabilize after the initial engagement with the 91st Luftland. More anti-tank guns coming on in, and I think KingPapaDragon is nervous about the next few minutes here. Phase B is coming in 1 minute, and with that, Rangroo's not been actually bringing in a ton of troops. He's got some occasional infantry coming in every now and again, but I get the feeling he's really saving up to bring in some armor. Or maybe I'm completely wrong. I mean, his income early on is rather scanty, to say the least. Beaufort's going to come under fire from this mortar, and that thing is no joke. But luckily for him, I don't think he really has to worry too much about it. He seems to be targeting the wrong area. Oh, never mind. Here we go. Fire being adjusted, and yes. Pack 40 coming on in. Gonna put some pressure, I would say, against this M20 if he could seize him at all, but no, instead he's going after that Beaufort. Can the Beaufort see him back? Oh my gosh. Kind of insane when you think about it. Beaufort's putting fire back towards the Pack 40, and unfortunately is not able to take out or pin that Pack 40, instead being pinned before he gets the opportunity, losing a fair amount of men as well. Now, over on the German right, the American left, rifles did not move in to help out their brethren and pay the price for it, the iron price indeed. And we're still back to a 51-49. And if these rifles could shift on in at all, they might be able to capture this Ersatztruppen, which I've nobody within 100 meters that's not pinned down. Oh, in and out, in and out, in and out. Okay, so there we go. But here we go, Phase B, which means immediately we have a jumbo M4 coming on in, as well as some more infantry to support the somewhat ailing American lines. M20 in the meantime coming out of firepower from that Panther 35. Yeah, it's a good idea for him to fall back. Not a particularly great tank. 37mm, yeah, geez, that thing's super, super light. But the M20 is something you definitely want to keep on the field as much as possible. One of those areas of infantry has been taken out. These guys are pinned, so we're going to see... We could see a surrender. That would be quite a coup, because at that point, this Pack 40... Actually, yes, the German lines are somewhat crumbling in the center yet again. They're pinned. There we go. There's that surrender. So the Americans are going to get a good push over here. Might be able to push forward, even take out this mortar. Might be able to push and C to take out this Pack 40 as well. But perhaps more devastatingly, Oh, these rifles didn't get a chance to put any kind of fire into an Opal Blitz, and that's unlucky for them. Meanwhile, this little finger right here is going to get closed off as Ersatztruppen and Jägers come on in to remove the interlopers. Recon troops over to the west must see that pack before they backed away, and if they didn't, then I am just kind of nervous for any kind of tank coming up there. More infantry yet again coming in. I'm trying to think about what each player should be running right about now. To me, I've got a lot more experience, I say, with the 3rd Armor than I would with the 91st Luftlande. I'd prefer to play with armor as opposed to the lighter forces, let's say the paratroopers. I'm trying to put it, maybe drive in between these trees right here. Yes, they can be very much an area of death for ambushes with Fausts and the like, but these recon troops really need to be getting further forward, getting more aggressive. Even inside these trees right here, he could see something. And maybe that's what he's doing now, shifting on in. But he's got to hurry, because ME-109s are coming on in. Another Henkel's coming in as well. 129 might do a ton of damage here. Unless... Yep, he's going after that M4A3. But a ton of fire being levied at it. Bofors galore, machine guns galore, and it's really if they throw enough lead at him, maybe he might go down. Never mind, we're all set. The M4 instead just puts fire out in the Panzerjägers, and these guys are somewhat hung out to dry. We'll take a look at the amount of fire coming in at them. Bofors, half-track, tank, other half-track. These guys are completely pinned. Now's the time again, and this is something that I think a lot of players are still learning, including myself, I might say, is the ability to have infantry and forces on hand to make the assault after you've been able to pin your opponent down. But it's still 45 to 55. Germans are still in the lead with 1 tick a second. They're up about 600 as we speak. And I feel like the 91st Luftlande is sagging a little bit. Not insanely so, but sagging a little bit. Their right is still very, very strong. The Allied left has been almost completely and totally ignored. A consequence, I think, of a couple early shots from this Pack 36. And there we go, is another death coming on now. Another crew being slain by that anti-tank gun. And it's not a great... I don't know why he's keeping his troops there. His half-track's going to get blown to pieces. There we go, he's finally moving them. Great, fantastic. Transmission damage on the Panzer 35. I think that... Whoa, dude, that was a... Oh my gosh. That's a crazy, crazy line of sight. Take a look at that. He's shooting between these two houses to take out that tank. That is a sniper right there, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what I really love about this game, is that there's such a commitment to line of sight on it. And it's I'm not going to say it's 100% accurate, but the smallest gap can be exploited. I would never have thought immediately to use that tank in a position to shoot at the Panzer 35 on the other side of those buildings, but that was a very, very well-placed Panzer. American Panzer, the Sherman right there. And now that Jumbo is moving on forward, Rangroo might be able to start seeing the infantry in these buildings. No. The optics are really that bad. Yikes. What he is seeing is that he knows there's infantry in the forest here, and it seems he knows even more so. He needs to put some mortar fire down on a collection as much as possible. Unfortunately for him, he's aiming way, way too long. And that poor M20 goes down. Finally getting taken out by redeploying Pack 40. Panzer Abwehr coming on in as well. This half-tracks are going to get whooped in a second. He's really got to back up. Command Stewart, though, right over here, going to put some firepower into this infantry. And there we go. He manages to pin them down before he takes too much damage. In fact, even taking out the Panzer Fallschirmjäger Abwehr, luckily enough. But that is a little solace to that poor squad of rifles that is just getting hammered by the anti-tank gun. And at long last, now we finally see a P-38 coming in to support the Americans. Where's he going to be going after? I think he's probably going to drop all those rockets. Oh, no, just... Okay, he's just taking out that collection there. And they're completely pinned down. So again, having troops on hand ready to take this out would have been perfect. But now, oh, now he's got a great opportunity to punch a hole in the German lines. One's pinned right here. The one's only barely not pinned. If you could move rifles in, he could take out and get those guys to surrender. That could be insanely good. And LMGs as well. Geez, so these guys are M1919s. Yep. So good opportunity there. ME-109 on combat air patrol. A little bit too late to force back the P-38. But still, he's at least going to keep things a little bit more homeostatic in terms of the air power. Now, these half-tracks are not continuing to fire. Ooh, this is a mistake. This is a mistake. This is totally a mistake. Oh no. Never mind. Will these guys be pinned long enough for them to get taken out? Okay, so there we go. That's one. Fusiliers, will they go down as well? Yep, there they go. And the German lines are just pierced completely through. Air power being levied as much as possible against his light vehicles over here. But, it's kind of like putting your fingers inside a bursting dam. Rifles now as well pouring up the eastern side in support of this half-tracks. And there goes the mortars. The mortar's gone. Half-tracks just slide in behind and move and take out this Ersatztruppen. It's only by the sheerest bit of luck I don't think he's being taken out yet. Mortar half-track taking firepower, though, from this Henkel. This Henkel doing a fair bit of work. Is that a 20mm cannon? 75? Dear God, I didn't realize I was that big. Oh, I love this game. Infantry support coming over here at 396, throwing rounds downrange at this Bofor. And I'm kind of wondering if that's really the best usage of this artillery piece. I'd be shelling the middle part of this town. And I believe that mortar half-track finally bought it. There we go, so he's down. But we do have, these Ersatztruppen are completely pinned. They're going to surrender any second here. And I'm kind of wondering why people don't have their troops fall back a little bit more often. I know I tend to use it maybe too much, but my guys are getting pinned. The first thing I do is hammer that unless I'm holding a particular position. And I don't want to have guys surrender. And with that, Rangroo takes a 54 to 46% share of the map and starts taking it in his own favor. And the Germans don't have a whole lot to contest this. There's still this Sherman in the middle part of the field, and actually there's a GMC putting rounds into this Bofors over here. This guy cannot see anything, though, so of dubious value, I would argue. And moving is a good idea as well. So this Pack 38, where's he shooting at? He's shooting at this Sherman over here. Rounds bouncing like crazy, and now this half-track I think is coming in behind the Pack 38. Yes, he is. So expect to see this guy get pinned at any second before he gets the next round off. Yes, there it goes. So that Pack 38 is going to go down. This guy's pinned. Yep. And we're seeing the widespread collapse in the 91st Luftländer on their left. Pack 38 over here has a chance, though, to redeem himself. I think this half-track might not make it out of here, folks. No, he's taking a couple bit of hits, but he's still ticking. Never mind, there he goes. And that's going to cost the Allies at least 1% of this map, I'm sure. P-38 Lightning's back in on the field. What did he make a gun run at, though? Nothing. Another ammo explosion over here, so, oof. A couple of losses here and there. Not sure why that 38's not moving forward at all. I've been making crazy gun runs. The second I saw this 38, I'd be throwing guys at it like crazy. Okay, if the Allies can take this small collection of buildings, I would argue that this entire arterial to the German left is completely gone. You can't use it. It wouldn't be a particularly effective usage at all. Now we will see an ME-109 making a run on in here. I'm not sure if he's on air patrol, if he's going to make an actual ground run. It looks like air patrol more than anything else. That's probably a good call. And excuse me, Fallschirmjägers get taken out from that collection of building there. However, there's still a Faust in the area, and that's quite the Faustian deal. If a vehicle comes close enough to you, you're going to get wrecked. Meantime, Pack 36 breaks the tracks of another M3 and claims another victim soon enough, I'm sure. Skachunk. Okay, the one thing I don't quite understand, though, is that anti-tank guns really should be either super accurate after the first couple of rounds, or completely worthless. One or the other. Mustang making a gun run at this ME-109. Nope, never mind. And I think this ME-109 might even be able to make his own... Yep, here comes the run. He's going to be able to get rockets away. No, 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 no. Even before he doesn't get a chance to drop those bombs. That's lucky, lucky, lucky. However, there is a Flak 36 here, which means that P-51 is going to just bolt like crazy, because that could be the death of him. Jeez, that thing is powerful. What other material are we seeing coming in here? Well, okay, so this Bofors is getting resupplied, and shockingly enough, this Ersatztruppen is still alive. He's still ticking. I think it's because Rangroo's been so occupied over on his right that he's not been forcing the issue at all. And now a Stug G coming on in. My question is... Okay, Sherman's putting fire towards this Pack 38? Pack 40? Pack 38. Yep, Pack 38. Simultaneous rounds going off, but now that thing is pinned, which means he is kind of screwed. If he can fall back onto this artillery piece, that artillery piece does have some armor-piercing ammo. It's just largely worthless under the circumstances. Sherman doesn't even manage to take him out completely, though. It looks like the Americans might be forced back a hair. Oh, this guy got pinned by air attack, I dare say. Yikes. P-38 is back on the field again, but he's not making any kind of runs. I think that's a mistake. I think he should make... If he's going to call him onto the battle space, he needs to make it. He needs to do something with him. He's not going to be able just to sit here and dither back and forth. Pinned down yet again, and there goes the Pack 36, Pack 38 rather. Excuse me. Which now frees up the Sherman, I would argue, to push in close support, or to sit behind on this house and pour fire at the back of that compound there. Because 91st Luft, this is pretty much as heavy as it gets. These Stugs are as good as it gets. Rifles seeing their opposite numbers over here. Fusiliers going down pretty quickly. Lucky for the Americans. Jeez. Just look how beautiful these models are. Ugh. Pretty historically accurate, I would argue. Maybe not sometimes not in the way they ambulate across the field, but it's still pretty darn good. And never mind, Sherman doesn't need to support that anymore, because that is a dead German position. However, that's a very, very alive anti-tank gun, and he will bring holy hell down on any allied vehicle who pokes his head around that turn. Rifles, in the meantime, engage some charging Ersatztruppen, as well as a... I don't know why this Pack 38 is... excuse me, Flak 36. I'm not sure why I called it Pack 38. Why he's advancing quite so much. He's not going to be able to do anything until he gets maybe in these trees. That's a very, very large push forwards. Scott comes onto the field and very quickly just gets pwned. Yikes, even more so, the American right is starting to fall apart now. Ammo explosion. Half-track's going to buy it any second, I can almost guarantee that. Can the Stug not see him? No, never mind, the Stug can't see him. And this Pack 36 can't see him either. These guys have no anti-tank. And these guys have no anti-tank, so maybe that M3 is going to last a teensy bit longer than you might think. Command M4A1 comes on up forwards, though, and he's going to put a round, I would hope, into this Stug, but it's going to be awfully close. Stug is going to focus instead on this half-track, causing a surrender, so well done there. As ME-109, the ace ME-109, goes away trailing smoke, not quite going down, and that's very, very lucky for the Germans. But slowly, we are seeing the Americans continuing their drive forwards, bring out an M7 as well as another Command M4A1. What's back here? Okay, some more infantry and another scout car. Not sure I necessarily agree with that. The M2HB is a little bit underpowered at this point in the game. But that half-track right there, surrendering is a bad, bad loss. It's a bad beat right there. Now, the Shermans are exchanging firepower with this Pack 36, and the Pack 36 is good up to a certain extent, but short of a lucky hit, I don't see them winning the duel against the Sherman. And one more round is going to be pretty much where the rubber meets the road, pinned down. Yep, there we go. So that anti-tank gun is going to be pretty much knocked out. the next round or two. Unless, of course, here comes the Flak 36. He's now getting engaged. And a good idea that Sherman backs away before another round comes out. Oof, but not before taking it to the front plate. He goes down. Now, this M4A3's been in the middle part of this town for a bit of time. This newly arrived Sherman is here to provide some good morale and leadership to everyone around. And he's still controlling the whole, well, a plurality of the map, a majority of the map. Is a good position, I would say, for Les Américains. M7 shifting on forwards. He's trying to put fire now towards that Flak 36. He is. And both his anti-tank guns, well, anti-air and anti-tank gun, are pinned down. So it's really taking a couple of lucky hits might be enough to take him out. Excuse me about the fade. I had to sneeze a little bit. Did not want to be doing that in the middle of your poor guy's ears. Fuel explosion. What the heck just died? Half-track went out, and infantry dives on out to escape the flames. Now, Henkel coming back in again, and immediately takes out... Wow. Takes out that mobile howitzer position, essentially. Now, frustratingly enough, it looks like every single one of these guys is going to make it away scot-free. Never mind, there goes one. Can he get a second one? He's making the gun run. No, not quite. But one goes away trailing smoke. Okay, now this lightning should either make a gun run or to retreat. One or the other. I don't know why he's not doing either one. Flak 36 might put a round up his aft. Wait a second, does Ranger just not see them at all? Maybe, wow, he doesn't actually see them.
On fire.
But he does have a Calliope now in on the field. So if he wants to, he can start lofting rockets way the heck downrange. Maybe targeting this area here, maybe targeting where he knows the infantry is over here. Excuse me. Could definitely break the Germans a little bit more. And with the Allies falling back to 51-49, they have to do something to be a teensy bit more aggressive and maintain their control. This one, Flak 36, is taking fire from this jumbo Sherman. This guy's done a pretty good amount of work. Takes it on out, and that's good right there. Rifles do have one squad pinned down, have another one pinned down. If they push on forwards, they can get some more surrenders here. But focusing and stunning these Ersatztruppen, it might be a better idea. For some reason, the indicator for the M3 half-track is still showing. That's one surrender right there, and dear God. Another gun run. It's kind of important for this jumbo right here to survive. Mustang comes in behind, and since there's no more anti-air over here to protect, there goes one, there goes another, and the 91st Luftland just took a massive, massive loss right there. See a lot of burning pyres in the background, and every single time we seem to see, recently, we see a German aircraft come on in, so it gets blown to pieces. Now, this Calliope, I'm wondering, again, is he going to start lofting rounds downrange or no? Lightning's coming in, so Lightning knows about the Flak 36. I don't know what he's aiming for, what he's waiting for. You can see a good chunk. Now, okay, so that is 1,300 meters. Okay, so he can easily reach the Flak 36. He's aligning. Okay, he's taking a long time to align. ME-109 is trying to come in after this P-51 Mustang, but again, it seems the Mustang just kind of skates in and out of all the enemy ground fire and the air power, for that matter. To manage to take one of those out, trailing fire, there goes one of them. He's smoking like crazy, and there he goes. Mustang doesn't get the chance to go after the other one, but still, this is exactly what the Americans need to be doing, and that's just calmly moving out one by one and taking down the air power against them. Now, these Calliope rockets, though, are not hitting quite as effectively as you might think, or hope. Shockingly, again, I don't understand why it's been so quiet over here so much. The Germans have had an opportunity to really kind of pound through the American position. It's just been these two squads, really, since the Jeep died early on in this battle. You know, over here, they have to know they're not going to be able to stand against the current armor the third armor brings. We are obviously well into Phase C, which means that late-game tanks, late-game arty, it's going to be very hard to stop. for the Calliope. He's throwing off just a couple of rounds here and there. Finally takes out that pack, the Flak 36. And now we have 2 squads again that are completely pinned down. We have a 3rd squad completely pinned down. Charge, my friends. You have to charge. Now, this Command Sherman, though, has broken tracks. His tracks were not made for walking. I can tell you that much, folks. Interestingly enough, his M2 HP, completely out of ammo. He still has enough ammo for his M1919s, but not perfect. Now this Henkel, I think, is going to bite in this one. Here comes that Mustang now. He's going to get in behind and just put tons of machine gun fire into the back of that individual right there. And that's still 650 cal machine guns. There's now no reliable, really, German anti-air. There's a Flak 38, but that's it. And that thing, by comparison, it barely tickles the Allied air power, and by comparison to what initially was happening with that Flak 36, the 88mm, that is. Now, Calliope cheating on forwards a little bit. Question is he going to be using more rockets, or is he here just to kind of provide close air support? It looks like it's air support. Excuse me, ground support. I don't know why I was saying air support, jeez. But 904 to 872, Lightning coming on in, going to put rounds into this Pack 40. Yep, rounds away, and pins him down, but not quite taking him out. And I've been kind of surprised that 3rd Armor has not leveraged more of his air assets. Then again, as he brings in more late tanks, he's outscaled the 91st Luftlande. And I don't think the Germans are coming back from this one. And they have, again, that's present over here, this largely virgin territory. They're really just fighting around this area here, and then as the front line shifted further and further north, as we're looking at the map right now, the Germans have just been forced to pull further and further back. Airstaff's troop been dying again, the map going further and further in control. And one by one, whether by artillery fire or by rockets, or heck, even by very, very accurate fire by this god Sherman right here, all of the material in the way just gets taken out. Again, and there goes the anti-aircraft gun that was over defending the German right. He's probably just lucky that the Lightning is not on the map anymore, because that would have heralded another gun run going after this pack, I almost guarantee you. But already. 989 to 872. Allies will get a minor victory themselves in 6 minutes. But it's really a question of whether or not the Germans hang out long enough for that to happen. Okay, let's take a quick look at statistics here. So, this Jumbo has 20 armor on the front. It's insane. This guy has armor-piercing value of 13. So, not likely. I mean, it's possible, but it's not likely he's going to penetrate. He's nowhere close enough as well. I think he's being engaged at 1,000 meters. So, yeah. If he's a little bit closer, if he's maybe 500 meters, he would have a good chance of getting rid of this Jumbo, but he's way too far away. And the fact that he's out in the middle of this field is almost as devastating. I do think that we're going to see an American victory coming out of this one. And yes, I'm not getting a cutout either way, but it is going to go and give a minor victory, I think, to Rangroo. Yep, KingPapaDragon surrenders. There we go. So, final score. It's going to be 1052 to 872. Congratulations to Rangroo for picking up a victory with the 3rd Armored there. KingPapaDragon had a very interesting start, but I think he probably mishandled the way that he opened up. He didn't push on one area where he definitely had an advantage. Now, taking a quick look at kills, yeah, the M4A1, definitely a strong killer. Taking out a couple of vehicles, actually taking out the early Sturm. Had the early Sturm survived, that might have gone a little bit better for him. But this guy right here, what, 1, 2, 3, 3 committed anti-tank guns. He took out an 88, he took out a Flak 38, and he took out the early light tank. He did a ton of extra damage all over the place as well. Rifles similarly doing a good job. Basically, the 3rd Armor relies on obviously his armored vehicles. As far as the losses go, in the meantime, we are going to see Fallschirmjägers doing some decent work. Really, though, it was a lot of this aircraft that kept KingPapaDragon inside the game as long as it did. Regardless, well played to Rangroo, and yes, a bad beat, I would say, over to KingPapaDragon. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in for this particular match. If you want to see more of this, please let me know. Hit that subscribe button, hit like, comment below. Let's hear your feedback, let's hear your thoughts. And I will see you guys all soon. This is Con Ulrich signing off. Take it easy, everybody.